Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gathering of Gachas, the only podcast that focuses exclusively on the games your parents don't want you to play. I'm Galen, the sound guy Firestone.
I'm Rena.
I'm Kite, and we've got a very special guest today. Introduce yourself,
Hi.
please.
Hi, I'm Bharos. I don't know why I'm here, really. I have absolutely no merit, but it's gonna be fun being here.
I will explain why you're here.
Please do.
You're here because you're one of the hosts of the Global Original podcast, which we've shouted out a couple of times before, and you've had a little competition in your podcast.
Ah, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had a DD
Did
competition.
you actually forget?
No. I remembered.
Okay, good.
Good,
So yeah,
good job.
there was a little dark vision competition where basically each of the 6 hosts of your podcast fought for who would get the top spot. The last one had their voice chipmunked for part of an episode.
That's right.
And the winner could choose a topic and then have the other podcast member not participate in it.
Oof.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's kind of what happened, unfortunately. Yeah, that's. But I mean, like, hey, it's a bit on me as well. I chose a controversial topic.
Uh-oh. What was the topic?
It was Final Fantasy Brave Exvius erotic fanfiction.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Hey, in my defense, they were pretty decent. Okay.
All right, you know what? That's cool. Just a fair warning, though. This podcast is thoroughly rated PG, so maybe not going in that direction for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. No details about the fanfics, I promise.
Okay.
So yeah, and somewhere along the way I thought, you know what? The winner is probably going to have better insights than me or any other member of this podcast to talk about dark vision in its intricacies, so might as well have a guest. So in any case, it's a pleasure to have you with us, Bharos.
Thank you for coming.
Yep.
And
Thank
It's a
you very
pleasure.
much for inviting me.
just as a point of clarification, we are aware that Dark Visions is not exactly recent. Unfortunately, we've been running into some fairly major technical issues lately involving Discord. So we had to reschedule the podcast for this week as opposed to last week, which is not ideal, but, I mean, here we are.
Yep.
And I mean, hey, we're
Dark
doing
Vision
another
will come
DD.
back. Exactly.
And
So-
with that in mind, let's go ahead and start off with the FFBE recap of the week.
Ying!
So let's start with some of the units that were new last time. Serah, Noel, Adult Hope, and most importantly, the free unit, Lightning. Again, but not this
Dressed
one.
as Etros champion, the Knight of Valhalla.
Yeah, well, this is the 13.2 version of everybody, and I have been looking forward to this banner on a personal level for a very long time. I'm a big 13.2 fan. I've called it repeatedly, 13.2 specifically, the best Final Fantasy game since the PS1 era. I'm not sure that title holds, having replayed 12 since then, and actually going, oh yeah, this is actually a great game. But I do find myself very just... I like these characters a lot, and I'm glad they finally got proper representation. Also, Serah gets to be CG, and Yuna did not, so rip Yuna, I guess.
Yep. And well, Serah has a lot of firsts in FFBE in the standard point of view, because she's the only CG protagonist so far that is not based on her Dissidia appearance, because she is not a part of any of the Dissidia spin-offs, but she did made her debut in Opera Omnia. That's her first major Dissidia role there.
I mean, Opera Omnia doesn't exactly count as a Dissidia game, even if it uses the Dissidia name, mostly because Dissidia is kind of off in its own continuity, and it's this, like, fighting game nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like Final Fantasy Kitchen Sink Opera Omnia had the same ring to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But did her CG come from the Dissidia game, or was it like uniquely made for FB? I doubt.
It was all uniquely made for FFBE, but prior to this, everyone was using their Dissidia designs, which is why Warrior of Light looks like a blue dude with horns on his head instead of, a red fighter guy.
Yep.
And so I've got robbed.
Y'shtola is also another big exception because she is based on her Shadowbringer's appearance. It is not her usual Stormblood Heaven's Ward appearance.
Yeah,
Which is the appearance I prefer, I might add. I greatly prefer how she looks in Stormblood and Heaven's Word, but whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. So, let's talk a bit about the unit, starting with Serah.
Yep.
Okay.
Her TMR is a magic bow with bird killer.
Unsurprising. That's kind of what she does.
Yeah, so every bow in the game has bird killer. Isn't that really strange?
No, Elf's bow, which is the Lunera's TMR, has demon killer.
Yep.
Yeah,
it has demon killers. And Artemis bow has like beast and demon killers.
But yeah, most of them, the reasoning is things that shoot up kill birds.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Turn
Yeah, but you don't
fried
see any
chicken.
guns with bird killer though.
True.
I mean, those would be the premier bird killers, right? You're going to see like a shotgun. That should be pretty good at taking out birds.
You think, but a lot of times games will make shotguns into close range weapons, which isn't exactly accurate.
Yeah.
Unless it's a gunblade.
That wasn't what we were talking about, Kite, but thank you for the input. Cheers.
Gunblades are the superior weapon, though.
I completely agree. I main Gunbreaker in 14, so I 100% agree. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make here, like with the shotgun thing, like over at Arknights, we'll talk about this later, there's a dude named Executor who uses a shotgun, and he's incredibly close range despite technically being classified as a sniper. So a lot of games will go in that direction with shotguns and not anti-bird weapons like they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I wonder what happened, because like that's been a thing for like any type of game for so long. Like you have a shotgun, it's literally like if the dude is two more than 2 meters, or I don't know what that is in feet. I guess you're gonna have to do
A
math.
little over 6 feet.
Yeah, so if the dude is 6 feet away, you're just gonna miss. Like you're gonna flat out tickle him with your shotgun.
I think that's because game designers just don't really comprehend how spread shot actually works, and they think it spreads like super wide, and it doesn't.
Yeah, you have to spread but not just spread super wide, we also have to like slow down considerably in order for it to not be lethal even at like 60 yards range.
Yeah, ballistic velocity is no joke.
Yeah.
Especially the ballistic velocity of a magical Moogle transformed into a weapon.
Yeah, transformed only into a bow, I might add, which mildly is annoying because in 13.2 itself, that would transform into a sword at close range. She was a close range fighter as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, at least she can equip swords.
Yes.
And great. No, never mind. She can equip dagger and great swords, nothing in between.
What? Yeah, no. What the heck?
Yeah.
Great sword.
That's a bit weird.
Makes no... I guess technically she holds Mog as a two-handed sword, but that's hard technically on that one.
Yeah, it's also really bad though, because like most of the magic weapons are swords. Like you don't see many great swords with magic unless you count like Beowulf.
Yep, outside Beowulf's Chaos Blade, nope.
Let's forget that
Weird.
Beowulf exists.
Yeah, I'd love to, but like I just got another on a random rainbow, and it just made me so sad.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
I like him so much in tactics, and it makes me so sad that he's so jank here.
Yeah, same here. He was like literally one of my favorite characters in tactics. But
you got Beowulf again.
Indeed. No, as for Serah's STMR, it's 60% magic, 100% true dual wield magic, and 20% bonus if you have a bow.
Which is very, very, very optimized for her. But it's also just really good for any bow magic user in general. Like, I think a couple of the Finas work that way.
Mm-hmm. The Finas, the Dark...
Yeah, the problem is that we don't really have a bow with STMRT stats.
Yeah.
A magic bow, anyway.
Is an issue.
So most of the time your mages will have a rod to true dual wield, a true double hand, but we take the magic charger plus 60% magic.
So about your STMR, One thing that's a bit iffy about it is that she has, so it's 100% magic true dual wield, right? And that's not connected to the bow part. The problem is recently we're seeing mages getting 150% true dual wield.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, so it's kind of a waste of stat, although older mages still benefit a lot from it.
It's true double hand, not true dual wield, my bad.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. That would make a lot more sense, of course.
Which is capped at 400%, and most mages don't have 350% net.
Oh, yeah, no. Then it's actually incredibly good. Then it's like a super souped up magic charger.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's STMR tier, and that's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
Man, now you made me regret not pulling for Serah.
She's got Chaos Wave Awakened in a lot of elements. Earth, Wind, Holy.
Earth, Wind, and Holy. Mostly Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, she has one more Earth-related skill, but that also uses the entirety of the summon gauge.
Mm-hmm. She also uses the summon gauge for some of her skills.
Yeah, including her self-full heal. That's the way to reflect the fact that in FF13-2, you had the two main characters and a third monster party member.
Yeah, so that third monster party member was, for me, mostly some combination of Saz, Lightning 13-1, or Jill Nabat.
Yeah, these are not options there.
Sadly. Typhon apparently is, and he was DLC like most of those other names, so not really sure why I didn't realize you could get Typhon if you beat Ultros enough times.
Also, remind me, in this game, is Typhon not a wind-themed character?
He's still absolutely the same guy.
Because that Typhon skill is Earth Elemental.
Yeah, that's weird, because that's Snort. That's always been Sneeze. That's always been... Yeah. That should be Wind. I don't understand why that's...
Yeah, he's not throwing chunks of Earth at you, like blowing you out of the battle. He's just, sneezing you out.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Incredibly weird.
Do that?
I'm not sure why they would do that. I've never seen... Yeah, that just clicked with me. You're right. That is incorrect and weird and strange.
I mean, maybe it was just that actually Snort was supposed to be Wind and Head Twister was supposed to be Earth or some weird reason.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe. That would make sense.
Or I mean, not that Head Twister would make that much sense being Earth either, I guess, but...
Yeah, but the other is Typhoon.
Yeah, it was weird.
I'm
going to agree on that.
They probably could have gone with somebody else, but okay, cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she's mostly a Chaos Wave Awakened chainer.
Unfortunately, I'm going to say.
Why unfortunately?
Well, so it's not the DV segment yet, but Chaos Wave Awakens has this unfortunate trait that it's usually AoE, as it is for her. And AoE chains break when the unit or when the enemy is dead. Meaning that if you're a quad cast chainer and you kill the enemy on your first cast, you're not going to get any more casts, effectively reducing your damage by 75%, right?
Yeah. And that's a big problem.
Big problem indeed.
Well, it's a big problem when you need to deal with leaderboards. If you're just trying to kill the boss, it's not as much of a problem.
No, exactly. Like she's an absolute powerhouse when it comes to killing bosses, but she's going to struggle just like all of our top tier mages right now do in DV, though.
That makes sense.
But that's just and that's a problem they haven't really solved, though they did kind of with some of the upcoming units we're going to talk about soon.
Yeah. I mean, that's not as much as solving as a workaround.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We'll get to that. For now, she has a model of multicast similar to, say, Bahamut Fina.
Okay.
Which is that she starts as a dual caster and unlocks a triple cast. And she has 130% imperial for all three of her elements on her cheap LB, with also a 10 evoke gauge charge. So that could be nice for at least like the mission requirements, especially given that she gets LB full on first turn, just like any other LB CG unit.
All right.
So she can have this little bit of a toolbox that goes this way, even though she doesn't exactly shine when it comes to supportive utility.
Yeah, it seems like she's got one mode and one mode only, and that's Bring the Deeps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
With
is
a 60% break to help bring the deeps.
Yeah. This is fine.
really
This is
nice.
acceptable.
Bring the deeps.
Yeah. The only problem with her, I'm going to say, or with the element choices that they gave her, unfortunately, is that for some weird reason, like, you want to have an element out of all the 3 different types of magic, like the primary, secondary, and the whatever third is called.
Tertiary.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she has Wind, Earth, which are both secondary, and then you have bosses that are immune to both. But she does have Holy to back that up with, so that's I guess, good.
Are there other Holy CWA chainers? Oh, right, Soul.
Terra.
Soul,
Terra is
there's,
all in Earth.
Oh,
Serah, there's Bahamut Fina.
wait, hold on,
Yeah.
go back. Did you just say that Serah and Terra are actually AoE Holy partners on this?
CWA.
I kind of love that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're
Terra
dealing
and
with a couple
Sierra.
of my favorite protagonists right here. You're dealing with
The
a couple of my favorite
problem-
protagonists, so I'm good.
And
putting
now
it
you have a
together.
reason to, like, replay Trials and use Terra and Serah.
Yeah,
They also rhyme.
they do, which is weird.
They
but
do.
That's not really why I care that much, but all right,
Yeah,
cool.
the problem is, though, that
Problem.
Terra is a quadcast chainer, though,
Exactly.
while Serah
Yeah.
is a triple cast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not perfect, clearly.
Shall we move on to Noel?
Yep.
Noel
let's move on.
Christ. Let's talk
Noel
about him.
Christ, the last hunter.
So, starting with his TMR, it's a weird one. Mahan
It's a-
Ruin.
Water spear,
how do you
single-handed.
pronounce
Yeah.
it again?
Mahan Ruin. But
Ma-
I am completely free trying this pronunciation. It's probably Gaelic, and,
It is definitely Gaelic.
and the letters don't make sense in any single way in
Nope.
this language.
It probably is like...
They have completely lost me ever since I learned that in Neo, so Irs is pronounced Sesha.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like then you have, like, Shillelagh that's spelled
Exactly.
that you would never guess how it's spelled.
Shilelag.
Yeah,
So let's...
exactly.
Somehow my nose just bleed.
Yeah, no. Gaelic is a weird language. Basically, any Proto-English language is weird. If it comes from the British Isles, Welsh, Irish Gaelic, Scots Gaelic, Druidic, any of that. They're just bonkers with the spelling.
Exactly.
And
Anyway,
even
so
my
we're just
tongue is
going
twisting.
to... Yeah, no, you're not wrong. So we're just going to be ignorant dudes and just go with Macaluin and just live with
Exactly.
that, because it's probably pronounced something completely different.
Yeah, it's probably pronounced mayonnaise, but we don't know.
Yeah. Okay, well, its name is now mayonnaise. Like, congratulations,
Yes, yes.
you just did that.
Right.
All right,
I
so
think it's
mayonnaise-
fine. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty close to the original. Like,
Probably.
I'm an expert.
Yeah, no, that's I'll take it. So
Yeah.
mayonnaise is a water spear with 150 attack, and that's it.
Yep, that is a single-handed weapon with nothing fancy to it. Decent attack. Cool.
Well, it does have water element on it, and
Yeah.
sometimes having single-handed weapons with water element is pretty decent. It does have high attack too, so it's kind of like, if you can use spears, it's better than Brotherhood, I guess.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah.
But I've devalued a fair amount recently the elemental weapons because imburers have very important secondary roles and are generally well loved in parties.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you can have a character self-imbue and then have Mastermind Son spread it because Mastermind Son does everything and is a wonderful boy.
Yeah, and one thing that's a bit weird, he kind of has the same problem that Sid-ish had with his STMR on release. So, or not in the same way, but I mean, Noel can imbue himself with ice or water, but the ice is not going to do much for you because if you're using his TMR, then you're already water-based, so you don't want to use his ice attack, meaning that if you want to use something else than water, then you can't use his TMR, and then you lose his TMR passive, which is not great, to be honest.
Basically, if you want to have freedom with his elements, you need his STMR.
Which is a pretty good STMR. Raw attack 80 and 75% on 2 killers of pretty common enemy types. I dig it.
Yeah, it's
really
fantastic.
nice.
Although, to be honest, it's not the end of the world if you don't trigger his passive. You do lose 70% flat attack, but the 50% true dual wield is not that bad because he has 100% innate. Aside from that, so you it's still the standard gear you're going to put on.
Yeah, you can make up for it pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not the end of the world.
And the LB upgrade, which is also a part of the TMR skill, is nothing. It's like 2 times the modifier on his damage.
Yeah, it's not much.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even care.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's also assuming you're actually going to max his LB, which you're not.
Why would you?
I don't
just
see a reason to looking
at it. Yeah.
I will say I really like the fact that they've made very clear that some LBs don't need to be upgraded. Like I have the thing with Odin Reagan's LB as well, where maxing his LB gets you similar 2 times modifier increase, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit weird they do that because they also take away the okay, let's say you have really invested in Noel, like it's one of your favorite characters, and you're going like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna max this out, I'm gonna door his magic because I want to go all out, but there's literally no satisfaction in leveling his LB, and that's a bit weird. Like there should be something out of it, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it does help you save on LB pots, which are kind of hard to... I don't have a full stock of them.
You don't? I am literally swimming in them.
What kind of pots?
LB. We're only talking about LB here.
Oh. Yep. I even have a lot of them.
Yeah, mechanically, he's an AMOE chainer.
Yes, he is.
And
he does have the ability to run himself, and thus via MMX, the party, machine and dragon killers.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he very much like 13-2 itself, he is solid but unspectacular, if I had to call him anything.
Yeah, there's one thing that you can say about him. Well, apart from him being not that memorable in 13-2. So, Galen, you said at the start of this podcast that it was one of your favorite games. And I've said so many times that 13-2 is definitely the better 13 game of the two.
Yes,
no
100% agreed.
But I also felt like when Noel came out along with Serah, I was like, yeah, I know who Serah is. But then I was like, who is this other dude? And then I realized, oh, yeah, he's the other protagonist of the game.
Yeah.
And he's not super memorable. But there is one really cool thing about him in this game, and that's that he can burst ridiculously hard. He can burst super, super hard. When you stack his mod boosts and stuff, he can burst for a very high amount. And he's also a triple absolute mirror of equity chainer, meaning that he pairs perfectly with another super hard bursting triple cast absolute mirror of equity chainer, which is War Hero Reagan. So if you have both of them, you can bring them to a trial and absolutely decimate it with some serious burst.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, no, for me, the main draws of 13-2 were Serah, of course, because Laura Bailey can do no wrong. Caius Ballad was probably one of my all-time favorite Final Fantasy villains, to be perfectly honest with you. He was excellent. And I really like the episodic nature. I work primarily in episodic television, so I'm used to that, and I just like the way it felt in the game. I like the fact that when you load the game, it gives you a previously on. I'm like, I've edited so many of those.
Yeah, no, it does even better than that. It explains to you the scenario of the previous game, which was the first time I've understood the scenario of FF13 until this game.
Yeah. But I actually like when games do that. Like Dragon Quest XI did a very similar thing. Like every time you load your save, it just gives you a quick recap of where you were. And as a parent, I could go like 3 days without playing. So
Yeah.
When I go back into it, I'm like, I do not remember what I did last time in this game.
Yep.
It's a nice addition.
There's another thing that I quite like about FF13 too, and that was the treatment of Hope, which was a character that was completely detestable in the first game for a long while at the very least, and he was pretty cool in this one.
Yeah, I actually really liked Adult Hope, and I was kind of sad when I heard they turned him back into a kid for Lightning Returns for some inexplicable reason.
Yeah, that's weird.
And another thing is that he also got shafted again, so he's now a 4-star base unit.
That's not really a shaft for a guy who was not playable in party in 13.2.
True, exactly.
It's one of those where it can be too mad, but he isn't very usable.
Yeah, but I heard his LB is pretty usable for the fact it breaks and it buffs.
That's always a good combo. Yeah, that's not terrible.
It's a good starter new player option, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, new players have a lot of good stuff, including 3 units.
Yeah, now we're going to go ahead and talk about one of the stars of this particular situation, the other Farron sister, who is really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Lightning is situationally better than Charlotte. And by situationally, I mean in all situations that don't require you to apply 50% mitigation and cover at the same time.
Exactly. She is super strong and free to everyone. It's a bit weird because I haven't been able to get my hands on a Cecil. This is like a running gag. Thing is, like, she's my first magic tank upgrade since Charlotte. And I'm like, yeah, it's both frustrating, but also a bit fun.
I mean, look, if you're going to upgrade Charlotte, you're upgrading to someone who's at least cool.
That's true. Like, her actual design is fantastic. Animations, really good. And great skill set.
Yeah. Even her TMR and STMR are all very good. The STMR is just a sword with 74 attack and 158 spirit.
Which is great for a magic tank. Here, have a chunk of spirit. Enjoy.
I think I'll put that to Blue Mage Fina. Yeet.
But it's quite similar to the other spirit weapon we got, right? What was that? It was released on Charlotte Banner, right? From the MK?
The 3rd anniversary. I think it's the spiritual sword.
Yeah, spiritual sword.
125 spirit.
It was our first spirit sword in a long time before Paladin Cecil. I think it's also global
125
exclusive.
spirit, actually. So it's a lot worse in comparison.
Yeah. So yeah, this sword is a very nice upgrade over the spiritual sword.
And the TMR is pretty good too. With 100% worth of stat if you have a sword equipped, all in defensive stats. It's good.
Yeah, that is just a solid tank item. I really can't complain about it.
We like those.
Yep.
Except I haven't used it on magic tanks.
But if you have a free spot on a DPS, generally, if you have your killer sorted out, you'll want to use an item exactly like this.
Anyway, so her skills are decent skills. I really don't have much to...
one of the main interests is that she has a permanent double cast. As long as she has either her TMR or STMR equipped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except these skills are not stackable with itself, so... 2 separate abilities.
Yeah, so you can dual cast the same skill, but to have 2 Fandaras, for instance. But you can do the most important thing, which is cover unprovoked on turn 1.
Which is awesome. Like, that is fantastic if you could pull that off on just about any tank.
Especially if you don't have access to the limited gear that gives you passive provoke, that's just golden. Golden start to turn 1.
I have no idea why my K-Producer jacket went.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, that's not a fun thing to lose.
That's not a fun thing to lose at all. You should contact support, sir, because that's a fantastic item.
Yeah, that's pretty necessary. I realized that while I tried to... gear Mastermind Zone for passive provoke and couldn't. not without using most of its infantry and losing the ability to have him full evade.
Oh wow! Imagine like drunk selling K-Producer's jacket. I would just uninstall the game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's not a great thing to lose. Yikes!
Exactly.
And I don't know if I lost it or if I never had it, so I don't remember exactly when it came out.
Oh god. Well, that was the second anniversary, right? No,
Yep, it's the second anniversary.
I think it was the second anniversary. I mean, the other stuff. Wait, didn't we get other stuff alongside the K-Producer jacket back then? We got did we get one of those Moogle things?
The Moogle's items I have, actually. Maybe I just was super dumb and didn't realize how good the item was. I wouldn't put it past me.
I didn't bother with the K-Producer's jacket until I was able to make a full evade kit for my non-tanks. I was even worried that I might lost it, so I had to search through the clothings tab.
Yeah.
And then I was unable to find it until recently.
Yeah, the thing is, so K-Producer's jacket is literally needed whenever you need to gear a non-tank for passive, provoke, and evade.
Exactly.
Unless that non-tank is Snow, because he does not count as a tank, he just provokes.
Yeah, but I'm going to say, Snow still was a tank. I actually used Snow back in the day.
I used Snow, too. I used him to get killed. His job was to take... Yeah, there were a couple of 10-man bosses that would just start with a murder.
Yeah.
And I'm just you go and get killed. Die. Okay, good. Now we can actually start the fight.
No, I straight up used Snow as a provoke tank, because he was easy to gear for
you want to know who I used as a provoke tank? Eve.
Why Eve? Oh, okay, I mean, sure. Although nowadays, I guess, it's easier because Kenny Crow is a thing, so he's easily geared as a provoke tank, but you're gonna struggle without a K-Producer's jacket if you want to gear, I don't know, your healer to be your provoke. And,
Eve was weirdly good as a provoke tank until the Mercenary Ramza upgrade. It was weird how he worked, because he had that gather machine parts ability that I think no one paid attention to, which was actually a full-on tank ability. So if you can find a way to keep him alive for that first turn, after that you're in a 3-turn cycle and you just win.
I never thought of Eve that way. I guess there was so much hatred focused on Eve. I never got the hate myself, really, but there was so much hatred.
The resentment, you mean?
Huh.
Yeah, exactly. The resentment, yes. Well, you know what? I was at that point in the game, I was really short on defensive TMRs. So I was like, hey, this is another resentment. This is a good materia.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I welcomed all Eves with open arms.
Now, everyone was all, super hyped over 9S and was angry that he was now sharing a banner, despite the fact that Eve was both underrated and you got a borderline free 30% hit points TMR for no good reason. Back in those days, 30% hit points for no good reason was awesome. Give me that.
Yeah, but also,
remember when we cared about 4-star units?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also going to say, 9S... So I want to say that 9S was both overhyped, but also properly hyped, kind of. So people really overhyped 9S for the ability to turn anyone into a chainer. But the thing is, there were so many problems with pod chaining.
Pod chaining was a mess.
Yeah, I was so it was really overhyped. Yeah, it was a really cool idea that you could turn people, but the only real use for pod chaining that was okay, kind of, was doing some weird clears for the GL Marlboro trial, the very first one.
Yeah.
But other than that, really, the prize of the Pod 153 was actually the physical mitigation. Because that actually cheats some fights.
Oh, I loved that. I found myself using that way more than the chaining. I completely agree.
Yeah, I literally, I almost never use the chains, actually.
Yeah. And personally, I used 9S himself as a breaker for a while.
I tried, but the fact that he went attack, defense, and magic spirit and couldn't double cast, even back then, that was a little janky.
Okay, no, but the best thing, though, about his LB, because I've used him even when I didn't have enough to immediately fully max a character.
Yeah.
And the look of the minigame in the background changes depending on his awakening level. So if he's a 4, 5, or 6 star, the hacking minigame visuals get increasingly harder.
No, the animations of this game has always been great. But you know what? That actually is a wonderful segue because, hey, on the subject of 9S and all these other wonderful Nier characters, guess who just got a pile of upgrades?
Everybody!
Not really, I'm gonna say. Too few.
Yeah, no, like too few got upgraded, but everybody's here. It's Gathering of Gachas Ultimate.
Oh
Very
my god.
good. I have my episode title.
There it is.
Well, I was really happy to see this, but then I was super sad because they didn't buff everyone. So I'm still secretly hoping we're getting a nice surprise tomorrow in the news.
Yeah, same. But no, it was just these 4 characters.
Yep.
Which 4 characters?
Adam Jensen, to be Rena, and Elly.
Rena. Not Rena?
It's supposed to be called Rena in most cases, but
Yeah.
Rena was from the original. Some of the characters called her Rena in the voice collections. I'm more keen to her calling her as Rena for several reasons.
Yeah, it starts like you're really angry, and then it ends with a na.
And then, boy, howdy, did 2B get buffed. Oh, makes me so happy. Makes me so happy to see her be good again.
She's not the best breaker yet, but 80% breaks on turn 1 is very good.
It is. It is super strong, especially for DV, but it's a bit sad. I'm going to say, like, when I saw that her LB was upgraded, I was hoping there was going to be 80% breaks on her LB as well.
Same.
But unfortunately, it wasn't. So, unfortunately, you're going to look at 80% breaks at the start of the battle, and then you're going to roll back to 75, which is, it's not bad.
But you don't have full uptime on an 80% break the way Rico would give them.
Yeah.
Vanille, yeah.
That's a bit of a shame.
Unfortunate, but she still has this niche that she is still a damage dealer / breaker, whereas you can actually squeeze in quite a lot of damage in your team if you actually run 2-2Bs. That's a mouthful. As breaker damagers, and then you slot in a really powerful finisher as the unit that you're since you're compressing a slot, right? Yeah. And that might actually give you a lot of damage, a lot more than if you just ran, let's say, 2 Odin Reagans or 2 Noels.
Yep.
Also of note, when she came out as a 7-star, Stardust Way was completely useless. Now it's one of the major chain families.
Yeah, all of a sudden True Charge Spear has become, like, way frickin' better, though it is lightning element for her, so I'm not sure who she would partner with as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, herself, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Isn't Kadash lightning?
She still has Yorha Slaughter Dance, which is Graviton Cannon, which was also a very weird and kind of unfamiliar chain family.
Yeah, the one that literally nobody uses, and it was overhyped because of Maria, who was like dead on arrival. So it was, she was never used.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Unfortunately, though, I'm gonna say unfortunately because Xenogears is still my favorite JRPG. So I'm still very sad that game didn't get that well treated in FFB because it got crept so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted Faye to be good.
I was always a Chitin fan, but I'm like, even him, I couldn't bring myself to pull for.
Wait a minute. You tried saying Citan, didn't you?
Chitin,
yeah. I was gonna say Citan.
Yeah, I always said Citan in my mind, but I might be wrong.
Same.
I used to call him Citan until I just call him Citan for some particular reason.
Mr. Uzuki.
Yeah,
whatever, the katana guy. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Yeah, no, and the thing is that he was pretty good in JP, but was completely overshadowed in GL because his banner came much later.
Yeah.
And then there was the Axstar problem. Axstar was the troll banner on his own banner.
God, I love that.
Yeah, gotta love that. But also, it's same for Elly. So Elly was in JP release a very, very strong mage that was quite bursty and kind of held that throne at least for a
Yep.
while.
Her
But
problem was irregular chains for Anemo Wave, which is only fixed through her enhancements. And even
yeah,
after
yeah.
enhancements, it's still yeesh.
And I mean, she also had this weird problem where she was like this pentacaster, and nobody could literally match her frames either. And her literal only use in GL was like demolishing the dark beasts and killing Golem on
Yeah.
turn 1 or whatever. That was
Dark
basically it.
Golem.
Yeah.
She was actually the unit I used for Dark Espers too.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I had to use her for something, having pulled really, really hard on the Synogears banner.
Same. Actually,
enhancement treated her right this time.
Yep. Her enhancements is a monster. Even Anemo Wave and the other 3 elemental attacks becomes Chaos Wave Awaken frames.
That's not the real treat, though. That's the prelude.
Oh.
The real treat is the LB.
Yep. Exactly. It becomes a physical type magic damage, which is also because Anemo Wave and the other 3 elements that she has that has self-imbuse makes her LB do elemental damage.
And that's amazing if you for Dark Visions in particular. Because Dark Visions likes what? Finishers, different element that you can imbue leisurely to have less changes in your team, and Elly is both of those, meaning that she's pretty much the only character that can do that sort of support so consistently besides the twins from the Lunar New Year.
Yeah, exactly. And another big benefit to that is that it uses physical killers, which are a little bit more abundant than magical killers.
Yeah, the only exception at this point is pretty much demon killers because of Lunera.
Yeah. And then another really, really good thing. So just looking at the numbers, so a decently geared Elly bursts just as hard as a decently geared Dark Spirit Soul. And that's good. I mean, so it's less than Physalis because she is just insane, but it's still in one hit. So Dark Spirit Soul does this with 4 casts of a Chaos Wave Awaken chain, right?
Which works.
But she's going to just do it in one hit. And you're never going to get 4 casts of Chaos Wave Awakens off on a boss fight. So this now turns her into an incredibly powerful mage for Dark Visions, but not just for Dark Visions, because you can also, like with some support, you can run a comp where you actually just, so you alternate, because she can fill her own LB gauge. So what you do is you just do Chaos Wave Awakens on the off turns, and then you have someone else chain for her, and then you cap 2 Ellys into a chain on the LB turns, and you get a lot of damage, actually.
Massive damage.
Yeah, very good.
So for a free unit, I mean literally, because, well, okay, not literally, because you can't buy her Prism, but you can still get her as a free unit and get lucky on the banner. She does a lot of damage. Although, again, like looking at a Physalis, she still does like maybe 70% more damage than her, though, so...
Yeah.
Although Physalis is still a bit weird.
Shall we talk briefly about the banners themselves before returning to the 2 other characters?
Sure.
Okay, so the way this works is that a lot of collaborations banners have returned, and you basically have 2 main options. So either you have the banner with the step up with the possibility to get any of those units and no off banner, or you have the possibility to go on specific banners for specific games and to say, I want to put pull a Xenogears unit with chance for off-banner units this time. But the chance is still very respectable because we have a 10% rainbow base rate.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not the on-banner rate that's better, it's the off-banner rate, which in some cases might be what you want. So dumping tickets or lapis into the banners can net you a lot of off-banner rainbows, because I think on-banner rate is 2.5, right? Or something like that.
It's 3%.
3%, 3%.
So
Yeah.
a little bit better than normal, but not really something to write home about.
Right.
Still, though, the 10% rate is very good. Like, I haven't done the 250 pull yet for today, but the other three I've done ever since the banners have appeared have all yielded rainbows to me.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
That is some serious luck.
That is. Good job.
Actually, I'm gonna pull for the fourth right now while we're discussing other stuff.
I'm actually summoning on the Just Cause 3 banner for lols.
Oh,
My biggest problem with the kind of daily pull is that it's such a mixed bag. Like, there are so many rainbows in the
Well,
pool.
there's a blue,
oh yeah.
and then it turned
Well-
into a gold. Wait for it.
All three of them have been Valkyrie profile characters for me.
Wait for
Nice.
Wait,
it.
you got another rainbow.
Okay, it's a rainbow. Haven't touched
Uh-oh.
it
Oh,
yet.
Lord.
See, pull on the 250.
Yeah, I have already, but I haven't gotten anything, unfortunately. I did get
boy.
How
Here we
oh
go
boy is oh
again.
boy.
Number
Okay.
10. It's a number
Ouch.
10 Esther. Yikes.
Yikes.
Wow.
Terrible unit, both on release and after enhancements. Poor Esther, rest in peace.
This is like the second in a row Esther that I found after getting the 8th that gave me a non-unique STMR. Same with Sephiroth
Yeah, but
and
you know what?
Elephim.
Look at it this way. If there is a single GL unit that might get, okay, if there are two GL units that might get NV crystals in the future, or might be NV version upgraded, I don't know what you say.
I'm definitely
It's-
keeping those Esters because
Yeah, it's either Fryevia,
Some-
I'm going to say, or Esther.
Yeah, those
It's a
seem to be
sign.
like. God, I liked Esther so much when she came out. I was so happy she existed, and she got crept like immediately when Elena happened.
Yep, it does happen.
I'm gonna say
she's
she got crept
she's still a
immediately as
favorite
Xeno
because
released.
that's Esther.
Oh, right, Xeno was a thing. I refused to pull on him for reasons I won't bother talking about here.
Yeah, because that was one very crazy period in the game, I'm gonna say.
That
I also
really
pulled
was.
really hard for both Esther and Xeno, and like yes, the banners came literally after one another. But the thing was, after I pulled for Xeno, I felt a bit empty on the inside because I felt that Axstar was a fantastically designed character, had a great CG. So I actually used Axstar for quite a while after Xeno's release, despite having Xeno.
You know, I've always been a proponent of use who makes you smile because the game isn't necessarily rough enough that you need the toppest of the meta to progress. So
Yeah, no, God, no. It's
So-
like it's a cakewalk.
yeah,
It's-
use who
If you
makes
have
you
a
happy.
decent damage dealer.
Especially now that we have a free tank and the next free unit is going to be a breaker. So full free units parties are becoming more and more legit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
like I made a
like, what
point never
time
ever to
only
use
was-
Yo because I didn't like the guy and I wanted to prove I could do it without him, and I sure did.
Yeah. Like right now, the only role we're really missing is physical tank.
yeah.
All the others can be fulfilled by free units. It's great.
Well, I mean, but on the other hand, physical tanks nowadays, if you can gear for evasion, doesn't really matter what kind of tank
Exactly.
you have.
Quina can be your physical tank.
Yes, which is both sad, but also, I mean, it's also fun. It's fun when you get to these interesting team comps. You know,
Yeah.
like gearing your Serena to be your physical tank.
Exactly.
Then you kind of can do these weird compressions, and it can be pretty cool. But it's also a bit sad that actual physical tanks don't have a real, don't have the value they should have.
Yeah.
I was finally able to redeem myself 2 years later. I remember
Redeem
during
yourself?
Yep, because remember during Star Ocean Anamnesis, I went hard on Rena, and I got 7 rainbows total. All of them are off banners.
Oof. That
But
sounds like
now
when
you-
I pulled for
I pulled
Regina.
one ticket
Yeah.
on the Star Ocean Anamnesis banner, and it turned also a blue gold rainbow, and finally Rena appeared.
There you go.
congratulations.
So let's talk about Rena since I pulled a 210.
Rena
Sure.
was one of my favorite healer support units for a very long time, and I kept using her long after her supposed sell-by date because she was just that helpful.
Yeah, she was actually overlooked, or I'm not going to say overlooked, but she wasn't hyped enough, I'm going to say. She was actually really good at release as well.
She was fantastic. I really, really appreciated her as a unit.
I like her so bad during the day, and I played Star Ocean 2 ever since 2002.
But now she's a monster.
Yay!
A literal monster.
I mean, she was already good, but now she's like literally, you take Luna Freya, and then you give her Lena's kit, and bam, you have Rena.
Okay, you can sell me on her since I'm really liking these 2 units, as it turns out.
Yeah, and now you can have 2 units in one, so it's a great deal. You have fantastic magic mitigation. You have the Imbue Imperil that's so great for OTKs and, like saving turns.
Yeah. Undispellable full party buff.
And undispellable, really strong full party buffs. A really broken strong LB regen as well that can kind of, you just don't have to heal when that is up on many fights.
Yeah.
So all in all, she has it all. And she also has she actually has no gaps in her kit, which is a bit frustrating. Looking at it from a design perspective.
Help creativity and sometimes force you into these weird party compositions.
Yeah, because if you're gonna say one flaw about this unit, one single flaw, it's literally she only has 30% general mitigation. Because if she had 50%, you're
That's
gonna
overkill.
That would be so broken strong. So it's she's actually really good. I'm actually struggling with this moral dilemma. So I shared this in the Discord chat the other day, and I got yelled at. So I'm just gonna try it out on you guys, see if you're gonna yell at me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I had a couple of tickets, and I went in on the Rena banner because I was like, I could get a Rena by using by buying her prism in the store, right, and getting the guaranteed free one, right. But I was like, hey, if I get one on banner, maybe I can do something with it. So I went in on banner, 6 tickets, gave me a Rena.
There you go.
All right. Okay, so here's the dilemma. So now, of course, obviously there is a prism in the store, but I don't have enough trust coins. Okay, so I have 2 options. I can, 1, use the free ticket to get the second Rena, and I'm a happy camper. I have 2 Renas. I have now a 7-star Rena. Fantastic healer.
Okay.
But the second option is, sell off some units, and primarily, unfortunately, 5-star units, to get that 5k to get my Rena Prism, and then I can use my ticket, the free ticket, to get another collab unit that I could use, for instance, an Omni Prism for, if they get further enhanced next week.
Well,
so I got yelled at for just suggesting selling 5-star units. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm not going to yell at you, but I always have a problem with that unless you have way too many dupes for your own good, just because with all the upgrades that just happen randomly, especially in global, I just don't like the idea of getting rid of a potential tool in the toolbox.
Yeah, well, that's kind of my point, because I never wanted, I didn't want to get rid of anything I couldn't spare. I only would get rid of stuff that I would have a 7-star dupe of. So, never kill a 7-star potential, right?
Yeah, if you have
but for instance, it's more like selling off your 10th Esther, for instance.
Exactly. So for instance, I have 10 Malphases. So selling off one Malphase that has an STMR and TMR, even if she gets an NV, that's just one unit that I am losing out.
Best argument against it, the Neo Visions.
Yeah, at that point, I can't really argue if you have two of the same unit that doesn't, you've already gotten their STMR, unless you want to do some weird chain with themselves strat, which I don't think is really necessary. Yeah, no, I think that's a reasonable option.
Okay,
that's a resource you can expend.
Here's the tech. You only sell off units which you wouldn't use even if they had a good New Vision version, because you hate them so much. I would sell off my aces, no problem, and I have 10 of them. It is literally the unit I have the most of.
Oh yeah, no, I would have no problem selling Ace. Easily my least favorite character in Type 0, and I actually liked Type 0. I can only imagine you're going through Rena.
My frustration for 5-star bases is Dark Knight Cecil and Delita.
Oh, well,
Oh.
I have Dark Knight Luna in 8 or 9.
I don't mind Dark Knight Lyneth. It's just that Dark Knight Cecil was the most number of troll in my 5-star EX tickets, and now in the the King Mog special guarantee tickets. Delita, on the
Yeah.
other hand, is just a thorn on my side. I don't even mind
Man, I'm
selling
gonna
him.
say I have a soft spot for Delita. Not gonna lie, I accidentally got him off banner back in the days, just as he got his enhancements. Like it was literally like the day before or day after. I don't remember, but it was just as he got his enhancements, and I used him for so much content, so
I
much
pulled
content.
my first Night Deleter like
Oh,
a
I'm not
week
talking about
ago.
Night Delita. I'm talking about
Yeah,
OG
no.
Delita.
But I only have one Deleter, and I have only one Night Deleter, which I pulled only a mere week ago of a EX ticket.
Well, you know what? Good for you, because they're
Darn.
not really great right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
boy.
it's fine. So let's move on to the two modern games units. I think Adam Jensen is probably the least impressive unit of the lot.
He does
Not
have his niche
because-
with like double stack Mirage, and doing some decent damage, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, and there's the other niche, which is the 50 times modifier Oil Way chaining on turn 1.
Yeah, which like you also have Roberta. If you also have Roberta, that's actually a decent combination for both getting the chain cap and doing decent damage.
Exactly, which is pretty good for Dark Visions, even though the turn count is going to matter less, at least for the next one. But other than that, yeah, he has fixed chains now. He's a Stardust Way chainer instead of a mostly weird non-standard chains with a tornado physical stuck in there. So he's usable, but not the real highlight of the banner. And then we have Rico Rodriguez, which finally has his 7-star.
Took
2
long
years
enough.
later. 2 years
I
later.
I pulled 2 of him on his original releases.
Same.
I've had my Rico 7-star ready for years.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think they were gonna deliver on this promise.
I wouldn't have let them forget it. Even though I mostly pulled Rico because of his TMR, because I didn't have any single Noctis.
I
So
actually
that
pulled
was-
him because I like Just Cause.
I tried
You know what?
summoning for him, but
That's
no rainbows. That's just my problem.
Yeah, that would be an issue. But yeah, he gains some bolting strike chains.
Cool.
Yeah. He gains a Magnus ability, which originally was in the datamine better than what it is now, though it's still pretty decent now. It's a free bolting strike in a trench coat with a 40 times modifier for each. It
Cool.
used to be 69 times modifier. No, that's not a joke.
Yeah, I
Actually, it
remember that.
says 40 on this, not 30. So did they change that?
Yeah, no. No, I mispronounced that.
Got it. There's a big difference between 40 and 30.
Yes. And then he gains the ability, as in the game, to have supply drops crash down, which he translates by either fuel barrels, which is a fire elemental attack, Storm Water Patrol Boat, which is a water elemental attack, or Storm Chaser, which is an earth elemental attack, each with a 120% corresponding break. The fire one is Bolting Strike. The other two are Avalanche Kick.
Yeah, which chains with Emperor and Wonder Twins the Second.
And that's it.
That is weird.
Wait,
That
chains with
is
Emperor?
weird.
Emperor.
And Emperor, it gives the wrong chain.
Emperor Fu,
the wrong
excuse me,
element,
not Emperor Mateus.
Yeah, Emperor
Okay.
Fu. And Emperor Fu can only use that as a fire chain, and not the other two elements. So,
Weird is what we're saying here. That's just weird.
yes, very much so. And his LB grants that too, so you can have your LB with a punch or with a cooldown. The choice is yours. But yeah, he basically has his Magnus and that's it.
Granted, he does a lot of damage. Like he's slightly above War Hero Reagan. They're literally like, yeah, they're literally like matched. If you have decent gear, they're matched. And you have like external imperils and stuff. Although both of them have strong imperils already. But he does, like, the thing to mention about him though is his burst. So he bursts again, just like Reagan bursts really hard. He actually almost bursts as hard as Sid, which still says a lot because Sid still bursts hard.
What do we think about his best partner for bolting strike chains, though?
I mean, that's kind of the problem, because Bolting Strike was humongous, like a year or so ago, and then fell off.
Then, exactly, and Esther fell off, and Malphasie is usable, but more for her utility.
Does anyone even look sideways at Elena anymore?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure.
For her triple caster, we'll wait on one, yeah. Besides that... I mean, there's Roberta, I guess. Roberta is probably the best.
I think Roberta is probably the best.
Yeah. Or Carton. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but that's what it is.
But thing is, like, that's everything.
And you're probably not going to be using Roberta anyway, isn't he? He's a triple caster, right, Rico?
He is, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like, he's not going to match pretty well. Like, unless you're chaining him with, like, Esther, God forbid, he's not going to be having that many non-dupe partners, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the problem with Rico is that he is single-mindedly usable on his own, but doesn't really have any friend.
Although again, he does a lot of damage. But I mean, if I got to choose between Rico and Odin Reagan, I would definitely go for Odin Reagan just for the partners, making it like a lot easier to do trials and find non-Odin Reagan friends. Because I am kind of suspecting you're not going to see a lot of Ricos in friends list.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know, maybe a lot of people take him as their free.
I haven't seen any.
I don't think I've seen any either, actually.
I only see like 4 people.
Shall we move on to Dark Vision talk?
Let's go ahead and do it. So this is kind of one of the main reasons, Bharos, we invited you to join us for this. I would love to hear what you have to say about your experience in it, since you kicked the crud out of the rest of your...
So first, to set up the scenery, what was your final rank on the second Dark Visions? Because I was around 6,500.
I can actually check. I don't remember exactly what it was, but let me check. It shouldn't take too long, right? It should be right here somewhere. So my final rank, I'm still above 500, so I'm 560 right now. But I do think there's 40 or 60 cheaters above me. So hopefully I'm going to be sub 500 when they tally the score.
Good luck.
Yeah, there was still a cheater problem this time, huh?
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I guess like cheaters were smarter this time because not that many submitted perfect scores, because obviously it was borderline impossible.
Some of the final bosses were way too tanky.
Yeah, but there are it's also hard to detect a cheater if they actually submit scores that sound reasonable. So let's see. I mean, the difference between 500 or sub 500 and above 500 is not huge. It's just a couple of more of the mats for the weapon. So
yeah, but it's for the honor of it, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to get beyond 500 or sub 500 again. I think first DV I was sub 300, so it would be nice.
Indeed. So tell us your secrets. What is the recipe for a perfect score?
Oof. Well, you're not going to like what you're going to hear, so...
Oh, dear.
The recipe...
I have triple cast Ogle Wayne chained a lot, and I didn't like that already. So I'm already ready to face things I dislike.
Yeah, well, so the thing is, unfortunately, thanks to Zon, Mastermind Zon, DV is kind of single-minded in the way that if you don't have Mastermind Zon, you're gonna have a very bad time, especially in the later stages, because Mastermind Zon's ability to copy killer buffs is really his biggest use. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. He can also spread in imbues. That's cool, but
Yeah.
the thing is, you slot in a Noctis or you slot in a Regina, all of a sudden you're giving 200% or 150% killer buffs to your entire team. And if you just assume your team already has 300% killer buffs, that's still a considerable increase in damage, like incredibly strong increase in damage.
Yeah, I ended up USC in Mastermind Zone. I only had one of him, and I didn't regret spending these 8 tickets.
No, that's definitely worth it, because even if you're doing it casually, just having a Mastermind Zone can let you blaze through it. Because DV takes a lot of time, especially if you're optimizing your
Yes.
builds. Like I'm not like some of the other hosts at the other podcast. They're very math intensive, so they do these spreadsheets and calculate everything out. I'm a stupid person, so I can't do that. What I do instead is I do a lot of runs, and I compare my damage between the different runs and do some of my own thinking. So DV eats a lot of time for me. But if you're doing it casually, even then, Zon is absolutely fantastic. Like if you compare him with a Regina and or a Noctis, preferably both, like for different fights if you have them,
Of course, because they
Then
have
you're just-
different killers.
but then you're just good to go. Although, not to understate also, there are so many units that actually have active killer buffs, usually for just themselves.
Yeah, and that's a bit the other side of the double-edged sword, because Mastermind Zone can uniformize some trials, but if I didn't have him, I wouldn't have used CG Jake, for instance, which
That
I
is
used for
true.
the Stone Killer on the second stage, along with as my for win the preventive attack stage, I believe, I had to use Quina.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, the damage loss is not that huge without Zon. I mean, it is significant, but it's not immense because usually the unit you bring for killers is not used for doing damage that turn.
Yeah.
Unless you do, like, okay, so there are exceptions, like Noctis and Regina actually can't do damage as they buff, so that makes them a very strong combination on the physical stages. But in general, you're kind of like so as you said, like you're bringing Jake, right, for the killers. Yeah, thing is, if you don't use Zon, then you have 2 slots you can actually fill with real damage dealers. So damage loss is not huge when you remove both of them, kind of. But for the physical stages, yeah, you absolutely want Zon and you want Regina and Noctis to do competitive damage.
Yeah. It's
But
funny that Regina, which came out so long ago, is still very relevant today and never really fell out of favor because how she is unique as in her role as a solid finisher with lots of self-adjustment that can then be spread to the party.
Yeah, and I mean, even before Zon was a thing, Regina was always top tier. She was always good. She could always take out trials.
I was still using her before her enhancements.
Yeah, me too. Like that's Regina and Noctis were the 2 units that really got me hooked on that type of unit design. So,
the mages are more boring for some reason. Probably
I didn't get any of the mages though. I'm so sad for that because I actually wanted a Delta Star Sakura, but I just didn't have the resources to go after her. So
yeah, fair. I have Regina, but no Noctis.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
Well, Noctis, I mean, they're a perfect pair since they can cover many different killers though. And
pretty much all besides like Bug.
Yeah. Although Noctis nowadays does do very little damage, like comparatively. You're not really like, if you're bringing Noctis for the killers, it's not much better than using Jake. I mean, it's better, but not much.
So does that mean that I should trash my War Hero, Wagon, and all sorts of units because all you need in life is Love, Chain, and Regina?
Yes. Absolutely. Like I've been praising finishers, especially Regina and Noctis, for so long. You know what? Chainers can go die in a fire.
Okay, but what if there's more than one enemy?
Yeah, well, you know what? That's actually normally you actually just kill one of them with one of your units because they're usually weak enough to be destroyed with one of your units, and then you can just focus all your burst on the other one, unless you have really really strong AOE chainers, and then you can combine and do damage to both.
I have really, really strong AoE Chaos Wave Awakened chainers.
Yeah,
That's
well,
a problem in itself.
Unfortunately, that's still that problem where when you do that, you're not getting all your casts out. And so let me just explain how bad Chaos Wave Awakens chains, or like any AoE chains, are in DV with an example. So
tell us everything, Bharos.
So the first DV, I had Dark Spirit Soul, who at that point was the hardest mage burster in the game.
Wasn't Bahamut Fina a little bit higher?
No, she's higher on overall damage, but he actually bursts just slightly higher than her. When he's like he bursts for. I mean, it's just I don't know,
pennies.
5 to 10% or something like that harder than her. So it's not huge, but it's still there. And I had him, and in the end, the way I got the highest scores on all my DV stages was by using Elena and Aurora Freya.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you have to realize that, of course, Elena and Aurora Freya, they are hybrids, so they do half the damage to this boss. But what do? Well, they actually get to finish their chains. And that's the thing. So having the strongest mage at that point in the game did nothing for me. Well, other than, he was actually nice for imperils. But aside from that, because again, so he does his 68 billion burst, right? Yeah, but you divide that by 4 because that's what you're actually going to get in the trial. And when you divide it by 4, you realize, oh, wow, Elena bursts harder. So, something to consider. So unfortunately, mages are standard mages are very bad, which is why I was so excited when Elly got
shafted in FFBE. No way!
It's so sad. I mean,
you're talking to someone that has pretty much all of the mages beside Physalis these days. I have Dagfina, I have CG Dagfina, that is. I have Shantoto to STMR levels. I have Bahamut Fina, and I use them because it's fun, but not because it's good.
I mean, to be honest, they're still fantastic for trials.
Yeah.
You're definitely not suffering to do any difficult content in the game. It's just that if you want to cap DV damage, or you want to do as many points as possible on the magic stages, they won't do much. Because right now, the top unit has been the Shuwen, the Lunar New Year Spirit Chainer, because of his ability to be imbued, or their ability to be imbued and use.
Basically, the reasons that make Rena good now.
Yeah. But that's why I remember when I saw Elly's preview in the news, when I saw that she had imbues on her Chaos Wave skills, I knew what was going to happen. And I was so happy. I was dancing because mage stages really, I get fantastic scores on all physical stages. I have really strong physical units. So if I just had slightly better magic units, I would have a lot better score. But unfortunately, maybe next DD. So now that I have Elly, let's see how it goes, because Elly actually bursts really, really hard. So I can't wait to take her for a spin. And I absolutely adore Elly. I was going to say,
you have Elly's LB max leveled?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
I mean, you have
Elly is one of those units that I adore, she was my first video game crush, so I made sure to max her out as soon as I got her.
I respect it.
Yep.
I did got Elly last year. Luckily, it was 2 copies, so it's a good time for redemption.
I haven't got any of them. And do you think it's a problem that right now the 2 best units for mage stages, which is the twins and Elly, are both time-limited units?
Well, absolutely. I think it's incredibly unfair, actually, because right now those units break the game, but there is salvation. So fairly soon, we're going to get the new Type 0 banner on which both Rem and Ace have the exact same mechanic, where they do magic or physical damage with the magic stat, meaning that they actually use physical killers, they can be imbued, but they still hit towards spirit and use their magic stat for damage. So it's just the best of both worlds.
Turns out one of the ways to fix mages was to make them physical attackers with magic damage.
But it's such a shame, because all they need to do is just fix that AoE chains don't break when the unit is dead.
You don't even need to give them crazy modifiers the way CG Kuja is right now in JP, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, you don't have... I mean, even after CG Kuja, I'm still thinking that Ace is probably the MVP of DV even in JP, because... due to the whole physical mechanic.
Exactly.
Although I'm gonna say there is a slight problem with the physical chainers though, because on the magic stage you're gonna be using someone to chain for you, right? And those units might be magic based, unless you're just using pure hybrids, right? So the problem is if you're using
Fire and Elena.
Yeah, so then it's fine, because then you just spread physical killers all over your party. Yeah. But if you're using, let's say, I don't know, your Physalis, right, to chain for you, then she won't get the killers unless you're buffing with a unit that does killers to both, which is fairly rare.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've learned only halfway through my progression, but that was pretty useful as I was getting more acquainted to Mastermind Zone, is that a lot of time a turn 2 kill is way more important than a turn 1 kill that would do less damage.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because DV is all about compression. It's all about compressing all the puzzle pieces you need for the trial into these 6 units you're bringing.
Exactly, and sometimes what you compress isn't number of turns, it's amount of damage in a single turn.
Absolutely. Let's just use Zon as an example, but there are many other units like him. So one thing that Zon can do is he can break and he can chain, right?
Yeah.
But and unfortunately, Zon is now OP because he can actually do both on the same turn. But let's say you couldn't. Well, actually, he can't, because it's gonna be hard hitting that 100 chain count if you're gonna break and chain on the same turn with him.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, you can skip a breaker if you just let Zon break and then chain on the turn after. Same with like Lock, and same with other chainers that can kind of help you get up there.
Exactly.
And it's usually much more useful to do that rather than chasing the turn 1 kill. Also, another thing you have to...
the main difference is that if you lose a fair amount of damage, you can lose 10,000, not 20,000, but like 15,000 points easily. If you lose a turn, you lose 1,000 points and that's it.
Yeah. And then the same goes for like breaks. So you shouldn't be chasing your highest breaks. You should be chasing the breaks that fit the best in your comp. If that's 60 breaks, they might actually result in higher damage, because you might be slotting away an actual breaker and doing significant damage on turn 2 instead.
Because, for instance, you're using your War Hero way against breaks instead of having to move out an actual damage dealers to use your Edgar.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, so I'm not going to be as depressing and say you have to have Masterminds on, because you really don't. One thing you need to do, though, is use the builder a lot. Like, it has this way of finding units for you. You can go like, hey, I need a unit that can break and buff wind resistance and imperil earth. And you know what? Weird thing is, there are units like that in FFB. Like, somewhere there is a unit that can do these combinations. And like, I've discovered so many weird units in my DV runs. I've been using Lunera.
Exactly. That's how I've came to actually use Quina in my teams.
Yeah. So that's definitely a tip. Like, you can go very, very far by just greedily looking at the builder. Like, just assume that what you're looking for exists. Like, oh, I need a chainer that can do a fire imperil, fire imbue, and breaks. Oh yeah, there's AK Rain. So yeah, it's like you just find AK Rain, and AK Rain actually can do Earth Imperil, Earth Imbue, and really strong breaks on turn 1.
Yeah, he's fiery, but turns out he has Earth in his back pocket.
Yeah, so it's Like, just be selfish, assume that the thing you're looking for is there and you might get lucky.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's fair to assume that Dark Visions, in a lot of way, is a celebration of your back catalogue of weird units with that one niche that never comes up.
Yeah, I can say,
Because there's 15 trials in a single week, they have the ability to cram that in.
Yeah. I mean, they are also blatantly, obviously made to kind of make you regret you didn't pull on the latest banners, though, because the elements match, the killers match. But if you look beyond that, like if you try to look beyond that, they're actually trying to psychologically condition you to pull for units.
By the way, did you actually manage to pull Evany?
No, I didn't. I spent so many pulls on her; it's ridiculous.
Ouch.
So I was happy with 2B enhancements because now I actually have a turn 1 80% breaker instead. So yeah, karma.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I mean, like I actually like TV. I just don't like that it takes so long. But otherwise, I really like the content it's been bringing us.
Yeah. And one of the things that's notable, I believe, is the ability to save and load loadouts. Which was added last week. And not on the next DB, but right now. As far as I'm concerned, that and the other addition they've made regarding the changes in requirements for the score are probably changes that, and that may be pure tinfoil hat things, but it may be that they were planned to be implemented for this DV, but that was delayed because of the pandemic.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, why else would I implement these changes now and not next DV?
It's a shame, though, because I actually think that the turn change is gonna so it does lower the skill cap a bit. Like you as a player, you don't have to be as good at trying to figure out the optimal comp given your but it makes it so it takes a lot less time because you can now just like aim for turn 3. You can just bring your strongest finishers. You can spend 2 turns just setting up, buffing, imbuing, imperiling.
I mean, for turn 3, I use Idle. I'm aiming for turn 12.
Yeah, there is a drawback to that, and that's that most bosses do have some they have some strong damaging mechanics past turn 3. They do like imperils or unavoidable damage, so you're probably going to aim for turn 3 anyway.
Okay, so you incentivize to still hurry up.
Yeah, kind of, but if you like, there are encounters where you can null all damage through like evasion and resistances, and then you can literally go to turn 100 if you want, like no problems.
I was so mad about the last boss though, because I took my time. All I wanted was the clear stage score of 10,000 points against Dark Tetrasylphid.
Mm-hmm.
And I use Idle as one of my damage dealers. And I cleared it in 11 turns, which is 1 turn before her biggest burst, while still giving me 0 points for amount of turn cleared.
Yeah,
that's the perfect Goldilocks zone of frustration.
Yeah.
And I think Goldilocks zone of frustration is a great nickname for DV.
It is actually, and I just hope they do like these quality of life changes. I'm really looking forward to them because I just look forward to spending less time with DV.
Yes,
less time on the boring stuff. Like it's not fun reloading my team again, or setting up my team again for this trial.
Reloading the fight because your IR chain broke for the 500th time.
Yeah, that's
if you're doing it manually.
Yeah.
But any last word on Dark Visions?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say it like this. I think Dark Visions should be enjoyed because it actually is very fun content because, just like you said, it brings out these old units in your roster that you haven't been used and all of a sudden found a use for. But you just have to condition yourself to not aim for the highest score. because the highest score is very much forcibly reserved for pulling the latest units. Like that's what it's designed for. So just out of mind and enjoy the event instead, because it's a very enjoyable event.
Oh yeah, when things click, they feel good.
Yes.
And when you manage to use optimally a unit you haven't used ever since it came out, you feel smart, and I like feeling smart.
Yeah, and it's also fun. Like, I mean, it kind of redeems pulling this terrible unit that you all of a sudden actually have a use for.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't had much attention on the second Dark Visions because I lack a lot. I mean, 3 out of 4 elements I don't have. But after this, maybe on the 3rd season of Dark Visions, maybe I'll try to find a way to redeem myself. And yep, exactly, Bharos. I agree. Dark Visions should be enjoyable, and well, not for saying this for anything that's really good, but even the battle music's cool.
Yeah. And with some quality of life, it's actually going to be a very cool event.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to that. Very curious about the next Dark Visions, both because of this quality of life event and because that should situate it right around anniversary time.
Yeah. Let's see what happens around anniversary. I have my own weird prediction for anniversary, not gonna lie.
Oh, do share.
Yeah, let's hear this.
Yeah, I've been.
Come on, let's get a little crazy.
People have laughed at me for this, but I'm kind of have this. There is this small chance that everything Gumi has done so far by like hurrying up banners and forcing stuff out faster, skipping banners, is that they're trying to get NV out as fast as possible in GL, because that's literally going to be a huge spike in their income. For like quarterly reports and so on. So I have this prediction that I actually think that they're going to do some type of GL NV at anniversary. Like NV is going to start at anniversary already, and maybe with the unit design or the design contest units. So I don't know. Let's see. I'm hoping for it because I actually think NV is a pretty cool idea. So let's see.
I really like what I've seen of NV as well.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't necessarily count on that, but there's victory in believing that they would, for instance, say they release the design contest units, and in, say, September, when NV releases or something somewhere on those parts, boom, immediately the 5 design units have immediate NV.
That could be it too. But I don't know. I have this thing in my heart. I have a feeling that it's going to be NV.
I know there was something global exclusive that was necessarily going to come at some point. It built up with the Omniprism packs and everything, and now we have this collaboration event, which is pretty big in itself. But
yeah, and that's also something that people are theorizing, that we got this event also primarily because they want us to waste our Omniprisms. So let's see.
Yeah, that sounds sound. This collaboration event with these 10% rates feels like the perfect trap banner.
Yes, absolutely. It feels like you should spend all your resources because you're going to get a lot of off banners and enjoy,
At the very least, do what I did. Do not spend any 4-star base tickets, because those only give you the same 2% increase in rainbow rates that you'd get for any other for spending 4-star base tickets anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
But so the future is exciting.
Well,
it is.
If you believe MV is coming for anniversary, then yes.
Well, it's still, the future is exciting. It's just when that future is going to hit is the real question.
That's true.
Yeah. Also, I am very excited at the idea that since we don't have any Season 3 related units besides Blue Mage Fina herself, maybe they will pretend Season 3 story doesn't even exist.
Oh, I hope so. I am pretending that every day.
Yeah, and then give Poppy's Kid to an unrelated global original.
Yeah, or...
No!
Yeah.
There we go. We've cracked the code. Pack it up, everyone.
No! Don't do this to me, Rena. Don't do this to me.
Now, Season 3 being bad aside, in any case, thank you very much, Bharos, for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Okay, now let's move on quickly to our final topic of the day. We have other games that we'll cover next episode, but right now let's not brutalize our listeners and our guests for over 2 hours.
I would appreciate that.
As many of us would, no doubt.
Never mind the editor who's still here. Hi.
Yeah, it sounds like editing the longer episode is a high difficulty, task-sensitive task. Just like many of the trials in some of the games we play are. I am very proud of this transition.
Very good. Well done. So, yeah, we talked at length about Dark Visions, which is this highly challenging temporary event. Arknights is currently having a very challenging temporary event called Contingency Contract, which actually has a different MIDI level to it every day.
Ooh. And in War of the Visions, there's the Raid, which has an increased amount of difficulty, which can reach some pretty crazy amount of HPs on a boss.
So,
And here in Dissidia 2, we have Lefenia difficulties, which is a monster in terms of trying to spike out damage before the time runs out or something.
Right.
So I guess if you're into difficult challenges, it's good to be a gacha gamer.
Pretty much. So I guess that's the question of how do we feel about these high-end temporary battles or temporary content.
I think one of the main factors for me, if they're temporary, is the type of difficulty. If it's a unique fight with interesting mechanics like Azura Tier, and it disappears after 2 weeks, that's frustrating to not be able to refight and relive that fight.
Yeah. I agree with that, but...
And even if it returns at this point, the fight is power crept.
Here's my thought on it, and see if y'all agree. One of the tricks with gacha games, especially gacha game fans, is a lot of them loudly complain that if they can't get everything, it's problematic. They hate it if something is too hard for them. But I almost feel like if something is very hard, it gives them something to strive for that isn't necessarily just having top-tier units. In Arknights, having top-tier units is by no guarantee of success. You will absolutely lose if you just focus on one guy like Silver Ash and ignore everybody else. So having
Although
content
Silver Ash is pretty strong.
He is pretty strong, I'm not gonna lie, but he can't solo most stages. No, let's be honest.
I like that, and I really like that about Arknights in that sense. Arknights is a game that really requires a lot more strategy than many other gachas out there.
Yes. In fact, while this podcast was going on, the recent update actually changed some of the AI, and actually broke my Lungmen Downtown Annihilation auto, and I needed to redo that while we were on the podcast.
Oof.
Ouch.
Yeah, 400 enemies on those things, but that's not temporary content. That's every week. We're talking about the temporary ones. I kind of feel like having these high-level challenges on a temporary basis kind of forces players to go outside their comfort zone and try things they wouldn't normally if they're on this must-have top-tier only nonsense.
Yeah, and monetary-wise, it makes sense for the gacha designers, right? Because a temporary difficult trial means you probably want to have really strong units for that trial, otherwise you feel like you're missing out. So it's kind of, again, this conditioning making you want to pull.
Yeah, and wouldn't you know it, they also had this wonderful banner on Arknights, which I love, which is guaranteed super strong units if you get the units pulled.
Yeah.
And similarly in War of the Visions right now, we have a boss that is weak to mage units, which there are almost none of, and is also weak to ranged units, which the most recent banner is. especially given that it's a wind elemental unit which is strong against earth elemental enemies like the boss.
Perfect.
And my favorite unit in War of the Visions right now is Yerma, so I'm so happy. She's also my first LB4 unit, because I'm one of those scrubs that don't have a level 99 yet. So I'm super happy.
Nice.
Oh yeah, no, same. I mean, I have an MR level 91, but no URs.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. But one of the questions it raises, though, is that for the temporary trail in itself is a thing. But what about temporary unique rewards?
I'm fine with them. Again, that gives players an incentive to play, and if they missed it, they missed it. It's harsh, but sometimes you're not going to get everything unless you actually are willing to put in the work, and this is kind of one of our recurring topics.
Yeah, imagine
the risk of snowballing on lower and lower power levels as you're missing the best rewards from the temporary events that gives you an easier time for the next event.
Yeah, I mean, and you have this sense of pride when you get these limited events because you feel a bit better than the people that started after you. I mean, imagine not having Cape Producer's jacket.
Ouch.
Okay, first word.
Ouch. That hurts.
Owie.
Ouchie, ouch.
Man, kicking someone while he's down, that's...
Yeah, you know what? I would just contact support and straight out lie and say hey, I accidentally sold it. Can you give it back? Although I'm not sure they do that though. I'm pretty sure they said on Reddit that they don't. If you sold it, it's kind of your problem.
Yeah, which I don't entirely disagree with, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
One of the things I kind of like. When it comes to the idea of a temporary trial is something that started and was interrupted since then in FFBE, which is the Chamber of the Vengeance. There is an original temporary, somewhat relatively hard trial, especially when it's Hesiko. And then you have a more permanent version with some specific different rewards. So there's both the temporary element without also the fear of missing out on the boss's mechanics and they're gone forever.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, when you're dealing with something as temporary as a gacha game, I think this kind of hard temporary content's primarily a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the one of the cornerstones, really, of also justifying pulling for these really strong units because hey, you were the one of those. It does push you to the limit.
It does push you to the limit that you got these characters. You got these characters, and then these events happen.
So what you mean to say is that you like the temporary trials because they remind you of the game's impending doom and everlasting mortality.
Yes,
ouch.
That's exactly what I mean.
But yes. But ouch. But yes.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Yes But Ouch podcast.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, let's face it, we all play gacha games because we actually hate ourselves.
I try to keep a healthy relationship with my video game style and spending habits in particular.
And I haven't had nearly enough coffee to answer that question effectively.
I'm not myself lately to answer that. So
okay, so let's leave it at that for today.
Yeah, I think that question managed to bring us to a grinding halt, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Congratulations, Bharos. You have managed to win 2 different podcasts now.
Good job.
Ding, ding, ding.
But all joking aside, thank you very much for coming and for being an excellent guest.
Thank you, Bharos. We hope to have you back again. Y'all are fantastic. Thank you so much. We will be back next time with more of the games you love to hate, and hopefully more than just FFBE. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great day.